why don't we get to the topic we want to talk about tonight, which is the 10, our list of 10 people in the Husker football program that we believe are going to make an impact in 2024. Now, we have graded these guys on kind of a tier. Who will make the biggest impact on the season or the most impact on the season? Who will make good impact on the season? And those who will make a little less impact, but the impact, regardless, will be positive. We'll just kind of look at where we think these guys are going to fall on those three tiers. Now, we're probably most likely, just like everything else we make a list for, we're probably going to be wrong, but we don't care because it's fun. So here we go. Number one, we'll start with your selection there, Scott. And why don't you go ahead and talk about that?
So we got Donovan Raiola, our offensive line coach. And I said this near the end of last season and then in the off season, and I will continue to say that I think he is probably one of the more underrated coaches that we have, in the sense that we didn't really get a fair shake of our offensive line last year simply because of the ineptitude in our quarterback room. I think our offensive line took a huge step forward, although the stat lines might not say it. And I'm going to say the forbidden thing, the thing that makes everybody get all and weird. The eye test of what our offensive line looked like in 2023 versus 2022, there was a jump, okay? And I'm very curious to see this year what kind of jump they can make again. I think I'd put money down and say that our offensive line makes a huge noticeable difference. And it's because of this guy. It's because of this guy, Donovan Raiola. I think that he is exactly what Matt Rhule wants. There's a reason why he kept him around. And spoiler, folks, it's not because of his nephew. I think it's because he kept him around because his philosophy was just, it was exactly what Matt Rhule wanted in a guy. And so I am very, very curious to see what kind of impact he makes, but more so, I think he just does. I think he does make an impact. Is it going to be a huge one? I'd argue yes. Some people would argue, I don't know. It's still up in the air, but I would put money that there's going to be people saying near the end of our season, when we've got a decent quarterback running around doing some decent things, and we've got an offensive line that's showing some more dominance that we haven't seen in the better half of the last decade. And there's going to be people talking about, is Donnie going to get hired away? Is he going to get taken? Is he going to go somewhere else? That would be what I'd bet money on. I think he makes a fairly good impact. I'd say good impact, but since he's my pick, I picked him, so I'm going to say most impact. I'd put money on most, but I think no matter what, he makes a good impact on our team going into the 2024 season. What do you think? You have yourself muted, I believe.
My bad. I had myself muted. Oops. When you just look at those three stats listed there on the screen, and I know a lot of that was because Harburg was able to break some big runs. She had some big runs and big pass plays and whatnot in some games. But you know what? I'll take those numbers any day over what we'd experienced under the Whipple regime, which was chuck and duck. This seemed like there was a concerted effort to get the running game jump started, and I think this is the guy that's really going to help do that. And he's going to be motivated. He's got to protect his nephew. So I think the pass pro is going to get better too. But yeah, when you come up to 9th in the country nationally in 40+ yard runs, you're doing something right. And second in the Big Ten in 50+ yard plays. That's both run and pass. So, and second in the Big Ten in rushing. So, and then we've probably got even more explosive athletes on this team coming into this season. If we can keep a running back that's who's really good, healthy, somebody like Dowdell coming in from Oregon, or if we can get Irvin to the point where he can not get hurt. Ramir, I mean, there's playmakers everywhere on this offense, and it starts up front. And I think Umfret markedly got better last year for sure. And I think it makes another jump. And you know what? Rhule likes him. Rhule liked him. Rhule liked Ben Hart. Ben Hart played so much better last season. Looks like he's going to have a good shot at the NFL coming up after this year if he stays healthy and improves again. Rhule knows talent. He knows it in coaches. He knows it in players. And I think I'm going to trust his judgment on this too. So I'm right there with you. I think it's I'm not going to say most impact, but I'm going to say good impact. I think he's going to protect his nephew fairly well if his nephew will trust him to and not try to make too many things happen on his own. So, yeah.